Hey everybody, it's Dominic from the Primetime Treasure eBay store and YouTube channel. Welcome back to another video. This is the first of a multi-part series that I'm going to do with you on bookkeeping for tax preparation purposes. There are a lot of people out there who are subscribers to this channel who have asked me to do a video like this on bookkeeping. And yesterday I saw David from my Facebook group, that's the Facebook Reselling Resource Center. If you'd like to join that, the link is down below in the description section. But David asked a question on what programs are out there that are most commonly used for keeping track of your expenses for tax preparation purposes. Now, there are a lot of people out there who are new into reselling or are starting to make that transition from this just being a hobby to something that will become a more active and serious business venture. And so you definitely want to make sure that you are keeping track of your expenses accurately so you could prepare your taxes much more efficiently when it comes time to at the end of the year. Now, I'm going to go over with you in this video 3 programs that people who are avid resellers tend to use to keep track of expenses and to do accounting work at 3 different ends of the spectrum. I'm going to cover one that is on the more expensive end. I'm going to cover one at the complete opposite end of the spectrum that's completely free. And then I'm going to cover one that's more in the middle of the spectrum. Now, if you use a program that is separate from one of the ones that I cover, that does not mean it's because I don't like it or because I think something is bad about it. It's just because I don't have time to cover every possible program out there in this video, and there's a lot of them that are out there. So if you find that there's one I didn't cover here that you like and you use, please feel free to add that information into the comment section so that other people who are viewing this video could go there and use that as a resource. Let them know what the program is, tell them why you like it. By all means, that's totally fine to do, and I totally encourage that as well. But let me start with just a basic preface before I go into covering these 3 programs that I want to today, which is ultimately whatever program you decide to use is personal preference, and it partly depends on how intricate your business needs are and how your business is set up in terms of what you actually need to keep track of. And everyone out there is at different points and at different levels of of business sophistication and of business development. So keep that in mind. You also have to factor in the time versus money component. Some of these programs cost money, some don't, some cost more, some cost less. So you have to just figure out that trade-off. Is the time that you're saving worth it for the money that you are inputting into it? Or is the little bit of extra time you may invest in using a free program worth it compared to how much you would have to put out there in terms of an expense for the program? So everyone's going to have a different answer to that, so it really just depends on you. But just keep that in mind. That's why I want to go over 3 different options at different parts or points of the spectrum. So let's start with the most expensive one, and this would be QuickBooks, made by Intuit. And there are different tiers, and that's how a lot of these programs work. They're tiered systems depending on how much you need. Most of these programs will allow for free trials for like 30 days or a week or something like that. So take advantage of that. Just make sure if you have to input your credit card information that you cancel before the trial period is up, or you typically will get charged for it. Also keep in mind that the rates you're going to see on this video are what the rates were as of August 24th, 2018. But those rates will likely differ depending on when it is you come to check out this video. Right here, you could see that QuickBooks offers these different tiers, and the one that is the least expensive is $10 a month. But these rates that you see here that are slashed, these are 50% off rates for a 3-month period. After that, it goes to the regular rate, so that would, at the simple level, jump to $20 a month, which would add up to $240 a year. So, you know, that is a considerable chunk of change. Now, of course, you can write that off in terms of a business expense, but also, of course, you don't get to write off every single penny of it. It's a percentage of it that's taken off. So you do have to factor the expense in mind here. At its most basic level, what QuickBooks will allow you to do is track income and expenses. You could do invoices and accept payments. You could run reports, send estimates, and track your sales and sales tax. But if you want to bump up to something more sophisticated, you could jump up to the Essentials program, which will allow you to get multiple users involved on the account, manage bills, and track your time. Now, they say that the most popular program, which jumps up now to between $30 and $60 a month, is going to do additional things like track inventory, manage budgets, and manage 1099 contractors. So if you have employees or something like that. So this is what I mean when I say it really depends on, you know, how your business is set up and how sophisticated it is. That's going to affect what tier you're going to wind up choosing. For most people, I would not suggest choosing this Desktop Pro option, which is $199, so like $200. You know, that would be more for, you know, place that's like a major corporation or something like that. But for the average person out there, you're not going to need to use something like that. So this is the most expensive program that most people tend to use who use this type of accounting software. You can get additional discounts off of this. You would have to call the sales number, work with a sales representative, and see you know, what kind of deals they may be able to make for you. So, you know, so keep that in mind. That's another thing you could you know, try to take advantage of there. But what most people actually tend to use who invest in an expense tracking system and accounting tracking system is GoDaddy's system. It's their online bookkeeping program. Now, they have 3 tiers as opposed to the more extensive tiers that you saw in QuickBooks. They range from $3.99 a month at a 20% discount to $11.99 a month is their most expensive one. So you can see the costs here are much more in line with what the average person would be prepared to pay for something like this. And one of the reasons it's very popular is because you could automatically import your sales data from your Amazon, PayPal, eBay, and Etsy account. So that is really appealing to a lot of people. Not only that, you could automatically import your bank and credit card transactions. You could prepare tax worksheets, Schedule C, sales tax, more. You could also track your mileage and your time on this. So there's lots of things you could do. Of course, invoices and estimates. So that Essentials program is the one that most people use. The Premium program will add recurring invoices, but for people who don't need that, they're going to stick with this middle option right here. Most people will not do this cheaper version because when you do that, you don't get to do the automatic import of the Amazon, PayPal, eBay, and Etsy sales data, which is, of course, you know, as I said earlier, it's extremely appealing to have something like that. But once you get off of the you know, 20% sale and you get to the you know, renewal rate of $9.99, you know, that's going to be $120 a year. So is there a way that you could also track these things easily without having to pay anything for it? Of course, there'll be an additional time investment, but can you do that by setting up a system that's kind of semi-automated and that's free? And yes, there is a way to do that, and that is through Microsoft Excel. Anyone pretty much who has a computer should have Microsoft Excel on it, as long as you have Microsoft Office, which comes on pretty much all computers. So there may be some Mac users that don't have it, but most or a lot of Mac users do have it because they also have some Windows features associated and built into it. So you would just go to your programs, your taskbar right here, and just go to all programs and look for the Microsoft Office file. But if you use it regularly, you'll see it just automatically pops up for me here, and it's just going to open up into a blank a spreadsheet that is fully customizable. So you could type and enter anything you want into it, any type of text, any type of numbers, and you could perform math formulas with it to add, sum things up. You could subtract, you could divide, you can multiply, and these are all different features you may want to use when keeping track of expenses for your reselling business. I'll show that in the next video. I just want to give you the basic overview of how this type of thing would work. And as you can see here, you could just type anything you want into it. So for example, you might want to type in the date, you might want to type in what the actual amount is as a label, you might want to keep track of what the expense description is, and in addition to that, you may want to keep track of, you know, what category is this? Is this a supply? Is it inventory? Is it, spelt that wrong there, is it food and drink? You know, whatever the case may be, you know, you could just put, you know, type a category in like that. And you could, you know, use a bold function if you want like this. You could just bold it, and you could increase the font size as well. So if you want to, you know, see it bigger, you know, you could customize it. You can make it big like that. And like I said here, you know, you could, as you saw me do, you could just extend out the tabs if you want to. So these things are, you know, fully modifiable to make them however you would like to make them and construct it. So again, I'll show you the details more in another video, but what I want to show you right now is just some basic things that I have it set up for. So I have it set up, for example, to keep track of just some basic costs and some basic expenses that I have, you know, that I commonly encounter in my reselling business. So as you can see here, I kind of have it set up the way I just showed you earlier with those tabs up top. Here's the date. For example, let's go through one item. Here's the expense amount, $60 that I paid for the items you just saw me show in my last video. Here's the 20 plus Masters of the Universe figures, the 2 Thundercat toys, the 1 Sectors action figure, Snake Mountain, Castle Grayskull, and a short box of comics. I know that a short box of comics is about 135 to 140 books if anyone ever asked me that on an audit. So that's how I just keep track of the inventory that way, is just by typing it in real quick, which I have anyway written on a cash receipt that I then just transfer over to here. And then you can see here I just categorize it. What is it? It's inventory. Where did I purchase it? So I put the street address in and the city. I don't put the state in because all my purchases are in New York, but if you are purchasing from multiple states, you would want to keep track of that. Now, you may want to, and I'll tell you why you might want to do this in the next video, you may also want to keep track of things in more specific detail than what I just showed you. And you could do that this way, and I have little collections that I purchase, or big collections that I purchase, organized in a way like this, where I literally have every expense tracked. So now when I say literally every expense, this is every expense after accounting for purchasing the entire lot of inventory. But for item by item, I have it tracked like this. So for example, let's say this is a comic book and collectibles collection that I purchased recently. So let's take this book right here. Here's Nintendo's Player Guide, which had all the stickers in it from 1987. I sold it on August 21st. That was through multiple offers. It was make an offer, and then there were 2 counter offers. So I like to keep track of that just to see how things are going, how many people are using buy it now, how many people are using make an offer, how many times with the counter offer. You could type that stuff in or not if you want to. That's what I mean about being able to personalize this the way you want to. But so you could add that kind of qualitative data in there if you want to. But in terms of quantitative data, you know, you're definitely going to want to put in your sales price. We could automate this to automatically calculate your eBay fee. So you could automatically have this set up so that once you put in how much you receive from PayPal, it will automatically calculate your PayPal fees, your postage. Then you put in if there's any listing fees associated with it. For me, there's not, because I have an eBay store and I've already taken that expense into account in my other cost tab that I just showed you. Any New York taxes involved, so the person who purchased this was from New York, so there was $3.77. spent on taxes there, and then there is a tab here where I have all the fees. So you see here total $9.44 of fees, and so how much total profit did I make? I made $36.83 on that. So now some of these fields will automatically populate. That's why I call it semi-automated. I'll show you how to do that in the next video, but I just want to show you the basics of how this type of thing can be set up. And you can see here, you could run multiple tabs here where you have multiple collections kind of set up. So there's lots of different things that I have here. This is one that I just have for comic sales. I have one for non-comic collectibles. I have one for, Funko Pops and things. So, you could just break it down to see how you're doing on a particular collection that you purchased and whether or not it has become something that's profitable for you and how much so. And I'll show you, again, in the next video why that kind of data is very powerful and important for you to keep track of and important for you to consider. Now you could do other things as well if you want to keep track of state taxes. You can see here, this is my totals right here so far just of this quarter of people who purchase things in the state of New York. Now you don't have to pay attention to this if you live in a state that does not collect sales tax, but for the majority of you who do, this is a very easy way to keep track of this, and I just will copy and paste this. For example, if it's the Nintendo's player guide, you can see right here, all I had to do is copy and paste it, plop it right into there, and I'm all set. Literally takes just a few seconds. You could also use this system, by the way, to keep track of your miles. Now this is just one little field that I set up. I didn't show you all of my miles log data for the year because I didn't want to show people's addresses, but here you could just see, you could just put in the date, and of course you could put labels in above this if you want to. How many miles, that would be right here. What did you do? I dropped a package off at the post office, and it will automatically populate, by the way. If you try to enter it again, you see I just type in the letter U, and then it just has it set, so you don't even have to keep typing this. And then here it will tell you I put in, where did I go? I went from home to the post office, what's the address, and right there back to home. So exactly where I went. I fortunately live very close to a post office. You can see it's only 4 miles of round trip to the post office, so that's very convenient for me. I'm fortunate in that way. But so you just keep track of it that way, and then there's this function button here which I'll show you how to set up and use next time, which will allow you to easily make summaries in terms of figuring out what your total expenses are for the year according to you could even sort them by category here, and I'll show you how to do that next time. And it's very simple, it's very easy to do. You just got to get familiar with it, as you would need to get familiar with any program here that you see. You're going to have to get familiar with GoDaddy. You're going to have to get familiar with QuickBooks. Whatever program it is you choose, it's going to be something new. There's going to be a little bit of a learning curve. But if you are interested in learning more about the free Excel side of that, let me know that down below, by the way, if you want to see that. I'm going to do it anyway, but I'd like to get a sense of what the demand is out there to understand how to use all those different functions for Excel. So that would be just helpful for me to know in terms of putting that together for you. So that will be coming in the next video that I do on bookkeeping. I don't know if it will literally be the next video that I do, because for all I know, I could get a call tomorrow to go on a really cool haul, and I'll be shooting a video at purchasing a whole bunch of collectibles somewhere. But I will tell you that the next video I do on bookkeeping, it will be on that topic. So we'll just take it from there. If there's other questions, by the way, you have about bookkeeping, this is the time to let me know, because that will help me decide whether or not to do like a part 3 or a part 4. So please make use of the comment section to drop comments, ask questions, and put in your own resources that you feel are helpful, that other members, or other subscribers, other people just viewing this video can use and part of their business, any kind of reselling tips that you might have for them in terms of inventory tracking and expense tracking. So with that, I'm going to wrap this video up. I hope it was helpful, just giving you a general overview of the main programs. If you like the video, please make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. If you enjoy the content you're seeing, want to see more of it, that really helps to establish the credibility of the channel is by increasing those that subscription count. Trying to get to 1,000 by the end of the year, so if you could help me out with that, that would be appreciated. Also, as I said earlier, make sure you come by for additional reselling tips. The Facebook Reselling Resource Center, the link to that is down below, in addition to the links to the QuickBooks program and to the GoDaddy program. There's also a list of links to other supplies and tools that I use to help me in my reselling business. Those are affiliate links, so if you do purchase any of those items or anything through there, that does help to support the channel. So that is always appreciated. Again, any comments, questions, let me know. And I will see you all at the next video. Just one last thing, make sure you're also following me on Instagram and Twitter. I'm starting to use the Twitter account more as well. So on Instagram, it's @PrimetimeTreasure. The links to all that sort of stuff is down below in the description section. So just check that out, and I'll see all of you at the next video. Take care, everyone.